What's going on, you guys? Coach here. I just haven't... It's all the news, of course, about Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler being let go. Figured I'd finally say something on camera because some of you are very curious of what I wanted to say. Yeah, I don't really need to talk about the Raiders as a whole. This is why I don't get excited. Just some guys, when you're tied to some guys, you just don't care. And that's pretty much what my apathy has been, even entering this season. I'm like, who cares? Josh is the head coach. Why should I care about this team? They need a bad reset. There's so many bad things that can go on at once, and I don't know what poked the bear, but I'm thankful that that loss on Monday night by the Lions poked the bear and got Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler fired. You know, when the executive GM is fired too, you know that they pretty much mean business. That's a big deal. And it's crazy enough. Like, most general managers are given like 10 years. Maybe 7 or 8 years. Usually you get 2 head coaches at most, but to know that they let go of everyone just like that, there's at least some signs of hope. But that being said, Mark Davis has done a terrible job at hiring people in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 6 years. That goes with John Gruden. That was such a bad hire because he's washed up. The only thing he was good for was beating Andy Reid, because he knows Andy Reid, but other than that, his ceiling was mediocrity. I don't settle for mediocrity, guys. Come on. The term commitment to excellence is not commitment to mediocrity. So that's the problem with Gruden, is that he drafted poorly, and that came back to bite. McDaniels, this is one of the most predictable hires that ends up being a disaster, and it's good to know that Mark Davis cut his losses. I mean, there's that clip of a fan telling him at Allegiant Stadium, like, fire McDaniels, and Mark just tries to respond and kind of puts the nervous laughter poker face on. But as you saw on Monday night, I mean, the offense still hasn't scored more than 20 points a game. I mean, that game against, was it the Patriots? That doesn't even count because there was a safety. There were defensive points there. So the offense has not scored more than 20 points a game. They're the worst offense in the league, or they're very close to the worst offense in the league. The guy's supposed to have done offense for years, and even if I didn't factor the Patriots part of it, where Patriots assistants kind of suck once they leave Bill Belichick, he's been an offensive play caller for a while, and to know that he still sucks, and as a head coach, it's pretty embarrassing to say the least. So, Mark, you didn't really do your job right. I mean, you got to hire away from the Patriots, and I also want you to hire away from the Chiefs, too. Don't try to hire an Andy Reid assistant. There are certain teams where the assistants under a certain head coach, they suck. And now, you know, Josh McDaniels joins that line of Romeo Crennel, Eric Mangini, Joe Judge, Bill O'Brien, Brian Flores. There's a lot of guys that have worked under Bill Belichick, and they've all kind of sucked. I forgot to even mention Matt Patricia. I forgot about him. A lot of those guys just kind of suck once they become head coaches or try to run their own thing. Even the Lions had to pay the price under Matt Patricia, and Bob Quinn was their general manager. Remember that one guy they got rid of and they thought was expendable? His name was Darius Slay. You know, he ends up being a star for someone else because the Lions ran him out of town. That's pretty much what could have happened if the Raiders had Davante Adams run out of town. That was a lot of potential for that. And had they traded him today or something, there was a lot of potential for that. And I don't think the media kind of spun Davante Adams' words wrong. It is what it is. But there's not much to say. This team is now already a mess, and I don't know how much of a hard reset you can do because Jimmy Garoppolo was stuck under a bad contract for at least 2 years. I saw the cap hit. Like, there's a nasty dead cap hit they have to eat. I mean, we're just kind of stuck with evaluating your players, and pretty much everyone on this roster could go, potentially, because we don't know what the new GM or whoever is brought in, they're going to want their own guys. They're going to have to hard reset this, and thank goodness they did. They did some kind of a hard reset. Now, I know some people are going to say they should have kept Rich Bisaccia, but I don't think that's the issue either. Had they kept Rich Bisaccia, you might have said they would have kept a couple players and they might have competed, but Bisaccia was not a head coach material. When you watched his games called, he's in over his head. There's a reason he's a special teams coach and not some head coach. It does take a lot more than just to say some words and do things in motivation. You still have to be able to make big decisions, and Bisaccia was so conservative and predictable in-game when it came to decisions that Yeah, he was not material. So I don't think Bisaccia as a head coach would have done anything here. The problem is that Mark Davis hired from the Patriots. And when I saw that McDaniels' name, I'm in Hawaii when it happened. You could watch back at my other video. But when it happened, I'm like, yeah, I'm turned off. I'm automatically turned off. Same way I was turned off by John Gruden before. Mark, you have to hire a GM and let the GM do his thing. I don't know what kind of advisors or people you listen to for this information, but you're supposed to have guys who know the league better than you. Like when Reggie McKenzie was hired, Reggie was a credible GM hire because he had a resume that made sense. He had advisors that actually gave him this advice to get Reggie. So at least all those mistakes on the field that Reggie McKenzie made, we can say that was on Reggie and not Mark. The last two hires of Gruden and McDaniels have been big mistakes on Mark, just for stupidity. There's been no reason to ever bring Gruden when he's washed up. There's no reason to ever bring up Patriot assistants because they suck once they leave Bill Belichick. So now it becomes the question, who do you hire and what goes from here? I mean, I know for me it's just you hire the GM and you let the GM do his thing. That's how I would do it, and that's the first and foremost thing. So I don't know about you, but I know by the time you're seeing this, it may be tomorrow or even the day, multiple days after, but I'm recording this maybe about 3 or 4 hours after the news has broken. It's like midnight, or was it 1 a.m. here as I record this. Just got off work, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, obviously I'm kind of happy that this is the biggest win of the Raiders season. Let me know what y'all think.